Woo! Okay, so I put those beignets in the oven because they were still cold, basically. And if I'm going to eat a big fried ball of something, I would like for it to be hot. Quite echoey in here. Echo. So yes, I'm in my potentially new apartment, and I thought that while that's heating up, alongside my soup that I made yesterday, my kale and sausage soup, because this French onion soup is garbage. Oh, I went blank. Yes, I thought I would just do a quick little update. I look very washed out because I'm right by the window, but don't worry, I'm not a ghost. Let's see, gosh, so much has happened. Well, first of all, I don't know if anyone saw, but I had this article from CNN Travel come out just kind of talking about my story of burnout and then not being able to make a decision about where to go and letting ChatGPT decide where I would move. Which was fun, like super fun to have an article on CNN Travel. Well, the funny thing is that all these French news outlets picked up on it, and I have been contacted by probably 15, maybe, different French media, like news channels, radio stations.
Les vraies voix Sud Radio.
Et une Américaine demande conseil à ChatGPT et déménage pour venir vivre dans le sud de la France.
Vous n'allez pas y croire, Cécile, encore.
Non,
Une
non.
fois de plus, c'est une jeune Américaine du Texas qui, au bord du burn-out, s'est dit qu'il était temps de changer de vie. Et pour savoir où aller, elle a demandé à ChatGPT.
There's like a TV special that's coming out with someone named Flavie in France. And she does sort of like, Anthony Bourdain style shows, not only food, but just about talking about France. And so I was a part of one of her episodes, very small part. And anyway, so I've done probably like 10 different interviews, and which has been really fun. Like I was even on a printed newspaper. What is it called? Midi Libre, which is one of the bigger newspapers. Le Parisien online, France 24. Anyway, all of these news outlets. So it's just been kind of funny because I guess it's basically been shared with a lot of people in town because I think people just see Uzes and then they forward it. And so I have all these people who have been contacting me on Instagram, which has been really fun. Like, I don't know, someone who lives outside of Uzes who says like, oh, I would love to meet up and have coffee sometime. Another woman who lives here in Uzes and has for a long time. I actually got sick on the day that we were supposed to meet up for coffee. So that reminds me, I need to reach out to her. And, this guy, Oliver, who has an art gallery in town, and he's lived here for, I can't remember what he said, like 20 years or so. He reached out and was like, several friends sent me your story. I have the gallery, so come by and say hi. And so last night I went by and said hi to him. So it's just been really fun. There's also been a tiny downside, which is there was a moment where essentially a friend who is also American was telling me that I guess other expats here who have been here for a long time were upset about the article because they're worried that a bunch of Americans are going to move here now. And it's just like, I don't think the article's not about Uzes. The article is about ChatGPT and me making that decision. Anyway, but it was just a little bit discouraging to hear that people were now, I guess, viewing me in a negative light because of the articles coming out. But the funny thing is there was only one article that will even be broadcast or like put out in the US, and all the rest were French media. So if anything, French people are going to come here, which great, we want. And I get it. I get the idea that we have all the expats who are here who have all, I say expats, but it's like really we're immigrants, the immigrants who have moved here. Because expats are temporary and they plan to go back to their home country, whereas immigrants plan to stay here. And so I think those of us who are here plan to stay. Most of us. They moved here because they liked the quality of life and they liked the town and they were seeking something better in their lives. That's why I moved here too. And now suddenly, I guess it's, there's a cutoff for who gets to be the last person who gets to move here. Because it's like, you also are an expat. Anyway, also, my hair is very dark. I went to go get a little touch up because, girls got grays. And she said, oh, yeah, maybe we'll just go a little bit darker since it's, you still have all these summer highlights from the sun and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this actually is my natural hair color, as you can tell by my eyebrows, like almost black. But I just often find it to be a bit too harsh. Anyway, so I did not want it to be that dark, but here we are. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Everyone hates me. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think it's just some people who are upset about it. But I did meet a woman just in the streets. I was walking with two friends, and one of them knew her. And turns out actually she's British, and she's lived here. Or she made a comment about like, oh, so you're the one who has the article. Well, I hope a bunch of Americans don't move here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that they will. And I said, well, anyway, I said, you moved here. Like, are you the last person who gets to be here? And she said, well, I've been here for 30 years. And it's like, it still stands. If you've been here for 30 years, does that mean no one else gets to come in? Like, there was some like line. Anyway, I understand the idea that we move here because we want to live in a French town. And so you don't want it to be totally overtaken by, I guess, all international people, Americans and British and Belgian. There's already a lot here, which is like, it's great. There's an international mix, but there's tons of French people too. But so we don't want it to just become this little international community and have French people leaving. For example, it's like we definitely still want to have it be very French. So I do understand the thought behind it, but it's just not very nice to, I don't know, sort of meet someone and scoff at them and tell them they shouldn't be here, because you got here first and you've been here for 30 years. It's like, okay, I guess I'll move, It's just, I get if you have someone moving here who doesn't speak French and is only going to be speaking English and not kind of changing into French culture and French ways, but that's not me. I'm French Julie because I'm basically French. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever talked about that, actually, that the reason I'm French Julie is because 15 years ago, at least 15 years ago, probably maybe even more now, I had two friends who came with me to Paris. We did like a week-long trip in Paris, and then I went down to the south after that, and I did a cooking class in Provence, which was so fun. But the two friends who came with me, after we went back, they said, there's two versions of Julie. There's regular Julie, and then there's French Julie. And when French Julie is in France, magical things happen. And it's true, but I think that's also because people react to the fact that I'm so delighted to be here, that I love the food, that I love the restaurant experience. I walk into restaurants anticipating that like I'm going to meet somebody, or the chef is going to come over, and the next thing you know, the chef does come over and then invites us to go have champagne somewhere, and so a lot of times that is sort of what you put out there. And so, but yes, so I'm French Julie because when I'm in France, magical things happen, and it's true. Anyway, all that to say, it was that actually the interviews and stuff kind of took up a lot of time because, someone would come and they would say an hour, but then it would end up being a 4-hour interview. And so then I've lost half the day. But it's fun. So it's fun, it's worth doing. And I'm really happy that it's caused some people to reach out and that it's a way for me to make new friends. And I've also had a ton of French people reach out to me and just say that they were encouraged by my story. They think it's very brave and like, welcome to France, like welcome to chez vous, like welcome like to your home. And so I was just really surprised by that. Very, very, everyone's just been very, very welcoming is the point. So I appreciated that. The French people, I mean. Apparently not all the expats here, but it's not like I've come across anyone except for that one interaction in the street who has been, that's not true actually. I did have an interaction where someone was like, I know who you are. It's like, oh, okay. Anyway, we're funny as humans, right? We get very like, we're pack animals. And I guess you want to protect what you have. But okay, and so then the other thing is that I should probably go check my beignets. Hang on one sec. Oh wow, I actually kind of burned them. So I guess in my wanting to have it heat up rapidly, I put it too high. I probably had it like at 425. 425F/225C. That's probably not even correct, but anyway. 225C for sure, and I'm just trying to do the conversion in my head. But this happens to me now, where I'm in the middle of talking about something and I just don't know what I'm talking about. It's cool. That's just called getting older, I guess. Yes, so in the midst of all this, also, I realized that the apartment that I was renting is pretty much double the going rate of an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment in Uzes. Double. And so when I realized how much money I could be saving per month, I started looking around at different real estate offices and looking at rentals. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to find a new one. I mean, I loved the location of that one and that beautiful freaking courtyard and the garden and everything, but I need to save money. So that took priority. And what's great is that I just happened to meet someone who then introduced someone else. And at our first lunch together, she said, my neighbor is moving to Saint-Remy de Provence, and I want to take over her apartment. She has this huge apartment that's so much bigger than mine. So I'm interested in doing that. And I said, oh my gosh, can I rent yours then if you're moving out? I said, because I'm looking for a place. And anyway, and so that's kind of how that has unfolded. We met with the agency that's in charge of it. You know, they had to check our dossier and all these documents to make sure that we're going to pay rent. And we got approved, which was exciting. And then I guess whenever she's back in January, then we'll do the official, she'll move into that one and I'll move into this one. And the idea is to have it unfurnished, which means I'll have to completely furnish it, which is a little intimidating, but also kind of fun because of the fact that I've been nomadic for 5 years. It just means I have not had my own stuff or my own space for a long time. And so it's exciting now to think about getting to create a home that feels good to me, you know, and just to kind of have my things in one place and not always be borrowing and using someone else's stuff. For the moment, that is what I'm doing, but eventually. My residency permit, titre de séjour, which should have arrived in June, is still not here, and it's mid-December. So my visa expired in June because for some reason they thought that they were going to be able to have my titre de séjour ready in less than 3 months when clearly it takes about a year. So I have an expired visa. And while right now I have an official letter that explains that my titre de séjour is still in process, it expires December 26th. It's like, come on, guys. You couldn't make it December 27th or 28th, heaven forbid January 1st. Like, it's just, so basically I can't fly home because if I go home for Christmas and then I try to even leave on the 26th, I now have an expired visa and an expired letter that says it's still in process. So it's just a big risk because what if they won't let me back on the plane? And you have to go in person to get your titre de séjour. So I could end up getting stuck in the States, basically. They said the only other option was to go to the nearest U.S. embassy and request a new visa to be able to leave. I'm just like, that doesn't sound like it makes sense. And also the closest embassy would be in Chicago. And my parents live in very far northeast Michigan. So that is another state. So I just decided that I would just stay here because I don't want to risk it. So I'm actually going back to Paris for Christmas because I have some friends who are doing, I have a friend who always hosts kind of orphans Christmas, meaning that you don't have family in Paris and you're not going to be able to go see your family. So you're just kind of on your own over Christmas. And so they'll be doing something. And I just thought that would be fun to get to go and be with some friends. That being said, I'm quite sad because I don't have any Christmas decorations up. I have not been able to find a Christmas tree anywhere. I guess that's why I'll go back downstairs. I saw they were selling holly branches, so I'll just get some of those. I don't know what I'll do with them, but I need a little Christmas cheer, even though everything's a bit of a disaster because of my stuff just being everywhere. Oh, I need to go get my food. All right, so I've got my kale sausage soup. I would tilt it, but it will run everywhere. Yep. And my little beignets, which I definitely put in for too long because now they're very dark brown and burnt. Oops. Oopsie. But they're hot now. Which I'm definitely just gonna have to wait on those to cool down. So yes, all I have to say, there's just been a lot going on, and I have so much stuff that I want to make videos with. It's just, yeah, I just need to get my stuff in order. But yes, a lot more coming soon. It's because it's been quite time consuming just looking for the retreat venue and things like that. But I'm definitely doing a retreat in May 18th through 24. It's at FrenchJulieTravels.com if you're interested. A women's retreat, and it is at this stunning chateau, which I went and visited again yesterday to get more videos, and it's just like, wow. So if you're wanting a little wow in your life, I highly recommend coming. This is just going to be an incredible week, so I'm super excited about that. And then the next one will be in September. So today I have a friend who is hosting a champagne and tea party, so I'm planning to go to that. But yeah, for now I'm gonna eat my soup and my burnt beignets from the Christmas market, and I will have much more very soon. Bisous!